serious about this truth, pushing his word even more. All right, hey, you can't kick up to those. If you're part of this thing, no matter what you do, the Most High is going to bring you into this thing. Just like those that are not really a part of this and they might be around for a second, the Lord always spits them out. All right, and the Lord been spitting a lot of cats out, but there's a lot of guys that are part of this thing, and some of you might have been kicking against the pricks, like the Apostle Paul was. All right, the Apostle Paul is the only one kicking up against the pricks. You see. You got a lot of you other guys, a lot of men that finally came in at one time probably was against GMS. You see what I'm saying? So it says, before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you, before the day of the Lord's anger come upon you, seek ye the Lord, all ye meek of the earth. See, the scriptures speak about being meek. That's the time we're supposed to be in, being meek, humble, lowly. You know, we're supposed to be watching as well as praying, man, and all demeanor, going into the hasten, praying to the scriptures say, give the Lord no rest until he established Jerusalem a praise on the earth. It says, seek ye the Lord, all ye meek of the earth, which have wrought his judgment. Seek righteousness, seek meekness. There you go again. It may be ye shall be hid in the day of the Lord's anger. So, which goes into Psalms 91. And then ultimately, Lord willing, you got having a ticket on the chariot. All right? That's the main point there. Psalms 10. But let me go back to the article. So it says, I'm going to jump around while I read this part. It says, more than 3 years after the FBI came under fire for claiming black identity extremists, remember the BIE, right? That's another, they always want to try to box us in, which we have nothing to do with none of these groups, but Esau is being the devil. And that's one thing, like even with the IRS or, because they're going to mention the different Moorish cats in this article, but even when you have dealing with the right way law, with their own law, basically is right. You should have sovereignty. We're supposed to have sovereign rights and this, that, and the third. And Esau doesn't have really jurisdiction on a lot of convictions or cases that they bring against you. The IRS they operate totally unconstitutional. But the thing is that what? They're the force. They have the power. So you can't, you know what I'm saying? This is their kingdom, and they have what they call it, sovereign immunity. So even when you catch them out there, you still can't sue the king. You can't call the king out there or whatever. They're the rulers. They sit there and have you locked up. They like, look, you can do it this way, or we're gonna come and grab you up. And listen, the Lord is the only reason why they haven't grabbed us brothers up in the faith that's doing His work. Believe that. They trust me. They want us, man. They want us better than anything on this planet, man. They want to roll up on us and get us to stop, make this truth just disappear overnight. If they have it their way, that's what they want to do. It says, more than 3 years after the FBI came under fire for claiming black identity extremists were a domestic terrorism threat, and they still, that hasn't changed, man. And these are the reasons why we got to hasten to the Lord, because the only help or only chance we got of making it out of here or surviving this is through Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right? I don't care what nobody else say. All right? That's why Acts 4 and 12, I believe, there's no other name under heaven where men could call on and be saved. Because why? The Most High is the one who put us in this predicament, just like we read in Daniel's 4 and set up the basis men. The Most High allowed these base low-life devils to come be in power over us. And it's no fault, or the Most High didn't do nothing wrong. What it is we were the ones that did the wrong. We transgressed the Most High's commandments. So he warned us, and Jake is hard-headed, stubborn. That's why a lot of Jake is going to die in 2021. And hopefully this is the last year, man. I pray Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, be His will, but we'll see how things keep going. We know that certain prophecies have to come in their order. But Lord willing, man, we'll be out of here soon. You see? So now, brothers could read this. I want to jump to, there was one part. Well, I'll read this one, and then I'm going to jump down to the other part when they kind of start naming this in this article. In 2017, a leaked copy of an FBI report on black identity extremists, sparked an outcry from activists, civil rights groups, and Congress, who criticized the Bureau for portraying desperate groups and individuals as a single movement, even though the only common factor was that those associated with the term were Black Americans. Those critics also faulted the FBI for equating isolated attacks against law enforcement with those perpetrated by white supremacists, which even the FBI said represent the majority of domestic terror attacks in recent years. And of course, these devils, these white supremacist groups, they always were the ones that was, just like they was in charge of, they was leading all the lynching parties and this, that, and the third, because they got the spirit of the devil in them. So when you look at you want to look at who the homegrown terrorist is going to be a so-called white person. Chances are, all right. And then when you have these other so-called black dudes that might go on a shooting spree or whatever, a lot of times those are plants, man. A lot of times they've been set up. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it just cat might be someone with a mental health problem and they just use it for their benefit, to push their agenda. You know what I'm saying? And also what they try to use it to is what? To demonize us and try to tie us to these individuals that we don't even know and we have no affiliation whatsoever with them. But they got to do it to try to what? To trump up charge. They want to make certain charges and everything and bring charges against us so that way they could sit there and, do what they want. They could stop us from teaching. Stop us from going out, try to torture us, try to force us to take the chip, the mark of the beast, all kinds of shit, man. So this is, man, all the things that they got against us, man, we need help from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. That's why we got to hasten. And hastening, meaning constantly sending up them prayers, constantly doing everything that we can do, man. Keep pushing shows, because these shows, when you push up these shows and everything, it don't go in vain, man. I never feel like, I don't care even if it could be in the middle of the night or whatever I do a show, I know that it's the Lord's word, so I know it's not going to go out in vain. And even though sometimes Esau is cold-blooded. He snatching shows off the shelf before, they get on the shelf, so to speak, man. With all the processing and all that. You won't even realize, you wake up and find out your show ain't never upload or it was up there. But nonetheless, the point is that the spirit of the Lord is out there. Once you do the shows, or as we're teaching and everything, that vibration is out there. All right, and it goes to whoever it's meant to go to, But let me jump down to it's going into certain parts. It says, as evidenced by this reference guide, white supremacists are the ones actually carrying out the violent attacks. Yet the FBI continues to equate them with black activists and black-led organizations who exercise their First Amendment protected right to speak out against racism and racial violence, which, for the record, there's nothing black about us. That was another a byword that was planted on us, just like nigga. Motherfuckers don't like to be called nigga, but they'll be called black, which they mean the word means the same thing. Nigga means black. You say, nah, but you say nigga. Man, listen, the word, it all goes back. It's a thing called root words. Go to the root word of the word, all right, whichever way you want to say it, and it's going to go back to nigga. Nigger, negro, nigger, right? Which is going to mean black, okay? So we're not black. We're the Hebrew Israelites, okay? The Hebrew Israelites are so-called black, the so-called black people, the so-called Puerto Ricans, the so-called West Indians, so-called Native American Indians, so-called Mexicans, so-called Peruvians, so-called Brazilians. That's why I said so-called, all right? It's not black. It's not a black thing. Dealing with the truth, dealing with us. We're not a black movement. The Most High is not dealing with a black movement. He's dealing with his people. Yahweh Shai is coming to get his elect. The elect of what? The elect of Israel. You see? In 2019, FBI Director Chris Wade told lawmakers that the Bureau had abandoned the term black identity extremists, which, is a lie. He saw as a lie, and they don't have they have plausible deniability, so you can't hold them accountable for nothing, and had instead moved toward the term racially motivated violent extremists, which that doesn't apply to us, but guess what? Esau's going to still try to force us to cause an act and get people to demonize us, just like with the thing, you got they got this term called anti-vaxxers, right? Which is people that are against the vaccine, And what they do is, because last year what they started doing is setting up different community, with the cops that was sitting there acting friendly, taking their gun down, taking the knee for what's his name, George Floyd, because all the riots and stuff that was happening, and the cops was trying to say, look, man, we're with you and all this. So they were setting up different community leaders and community groups. And what they did is they found out, because there's certain preachers that are, preachers, they might be, low-level preachers, not low, but it might be a little storefront preacher or whatever. They're connected with the police force. So when something happens in like certain neighborhoods and areas, they call the preacher will get the call, he'll come by, he knows he's connected with the captain or whatever. And what they do is they use him to talk, as a mouthpiece, because there's a disconnect between the people and the police. So what they do is they set up these community leaders. So now what they do is what? They put it in their mind that, look, this is a serious problem. It's people dying, but of course they hyping the numbers up. But now what they do is set these guys up, these so-called community leaders, and they put it in them to let the people know that people who don't wear masks or want to social distance, so to speak, that don't want to take the vaccine, those are the bad guys. And then that's where you got another conflict against the people who trust in this government and the people who don't. The people who don't want to wear a mask, that are fine, that don't want no vaccine or nothing like that, and the people that want it because they trust in this government. So now you got a clash there. You see what I'm saying? And then they use them the coin. They want to know list of people who don't want to take the vaccine. You understand? And again, especially us Israelites, and of course we're not taking that, right? We're against it. So they want to sit there and corner us in. Again, it goes back to the target being on our back, and that's why we got to hasten. We got to hasten to the day, hasten for the coming of the Lord. All right. I mean, it's a lot of points. Maybe I come back and touch a few more things. I did have some more scriptures that I want to get into, but I'm gonna leave it there for now. Man, I didn't even realize that it's almost 40 minutes. I'm gonna leave it there for now, and Lord willing, if anything, the Spirit, maybe I might come back to this one. But hopefully, brothers were edified, and as always, I give all glory and honor to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Say shalom to you, sincere Akim.